Approximately 90% of all US imports come through seaports like this one, and a majority of the vessels are either constructed, owned, or operated by China, all of which could soon be imposed additional fees for docking in any US port.
Whenever there's an increased cost of servicing your customers, typically because there's so much consumer products that are going from point A to point B on these large ocean vessels, you're going to have a trickle down effect. And depending on the commodity, that increase of cost could have astronomical impacts on inflation.
The Trump administration is currently drafting an executive order on added port fees, and if implemented, the new policy could force shipping companies to turn to cost-saving efforts by limiting their stops at only major US seaports like Los Angeles. That could have major consequences for exporters in rural areas.
For a grower in the Central Valley, to have to spend another $500 to $1,000 to truck their cargo down to Los Angeles or Long Beach, get on a vessel and move out to Asia, maybe the price for that product, think of a walnut handler as an example, gets too high on a per unit basis, and suddenly they're competing with other growing nations.
Port of LA officials suggest that the numbers from February 2024 compared to 2025 show an increase as businesses ramped up their imports ahead of the new tariffs taking effect. And port officials say exports have declined for 3 months in a row, following a solid increase for 2 years before that. Shipping industry executives say that we're still far from seeing the full scope of the retaliatory tariffs play out their full impact on the supply chains, trading costs for businesses, and consumer prices. And now the possibility of adding further costs to international trade is only adding more to the instability of profit margins. And it's not clear if this is the best strategy for strengthening the American shipping industry.
I think there's a strong likelihood that something could come to fruition. My hope is that attached with it is a common sense time frame on how we have the right type of workforce and the right type of supporting industries like steel and others to support shipbuilding in the United States, as opposed to just saying, we're going to start charging fees on Chinese built ships because there's no alternative right now. As admirable as the end goal is, if it's not done the right way, it could have catastrophic impacts to our global supply chain and really to the American consumer base.
If the White House issues the executive order, some experts say the implementation of docking fees on vessels associated with China could also violate rules set by the World Trade Organization. It is Tiyansan, CGTN, Los Angeles.